Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okoro. The Nigerian government has met with the parents of some Chibok schoolgirls who escaped from Islamic sect Boko Haram. During the meeting, the government accused non-governmental organizations of exploiting the girls by using them to get donations in the United States. In April 2014, Boko Haram abducted 276 girls from a school in Chibok, Borno State. Dozens of the girls escaped in the initial operation in 2014, but more than 200 of them remain missing. Some individuals and other non-governmental organizations had offered to help the girls who escaped overcome their trauma. Earlier this week, the Minister of Women Affairs, Aishat Al-Hassan, was in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, where she met with the parents and later addressed the media. According to the minister, out of the 15 girls currently in the United States, only 5 of them are in schools as promised. She, however, said the government would do all it could to get some other NGOs to take over the sponsorship of the girls' education. President Muhammad Buhari will address the 71st regular session of the United Nations General Assembly at the UN headquarters in New York. The event will take place from September 13 to 20th, 2016. Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyema disclosed this at a news conference on Friday in Abuja, where he also shared the president's itinerary for the trip. Onyema explained that the president will use the opportunity to build on his excellent relationship with other world leaders and demand the recovery of illicit and looted funds.
In the U.S., for instance, you might have read the other day that there's a Nigerian lawyer who is claiming that he provided some of the services in identifying some of the loot in the first place, and that he wanted to be paid and compensated, that he hadn't been paid by the previous governments. So that immediately put a stop on the endeavors to repatriate those funds. So you always have to clear a lot of these things. People will suddenly emerge from nowhere and say, oh, that they should have a part of this and so forth. So there are all these legal processes that often you have to go through. So specifically in response to your question, there's good movement, and the most important thing in these cases really is this. You identify more or less some funds, okay. Some have been identified in the U.S. You make the case for them. You go through the proceedings, and basically they can see that these are not funds that were legally transferred. I think we've also got there now with respect to some of the identified funds, and it's now just the whole administrative and sometimes legal issues in bringing them back. So it's a work in progress, but we're getting there.
The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has postponed the Edo State governorship election. The election was slated to hold on Saturday, September 10, 2016, but will now hold on September 28, 2016. INEC moved the poll following advice by 2 security agencies, the Nigerian Police Force and Department of State Services. Both security agencies had urged INEC to postpone the election due to intelligence which suggests that insurgents are planning to attack some communities during the forthcoming Salah celebrations between September 12th and 13th. The agencies say Edo State is among the states being earmarked for these planned attacks. The major contenders for the post of governor are Godwin Obaseki of the ruling All Progressives Congress and Osage Izeyamu of the opposition People's Democratic Party. Less than 24 hours after Nigeria's electoral body INEC confirmed the postponement of the Edo State governorship elections, reactions have continued to trail that decision. The opposition or People's Democratic Party has described that decision as a kick to democracy. Among them also Edo State Governor Adams Oshomole, and also the Governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, and his party, the People's Democratic Party. The PDP condemned the postponement and described it as a coup against the people of Edo State. The opposition party said changing the date was a less than ingenious attempt to buy more time for the governing All Progressives Congress. Edo State Governor Odams Oshomole, who is a member of the ruling party, also condemned the postponement. Oshomole said the 2 weeks extension is too long and that holding an election 2 days after the coronation of the Oba of Benin is not a wise decision. While the Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose described the postponement as the beginning of the end for democracy in Nigeria. The Nigerian government has officially launched the Change Begins With Me campaign at the Presidential Banquet Hall in Abuja. Speaking at the event, President Muhammad Buhari urged Nigerians to be part of the National Orientation Program. The campaign planned by the Federal Ministry of Information is an offshoot of the change mantra of the ruling All Progressives Congress.
It is safe to say today that honesty, hard work, godliness have given way to all kinds of manifestations of lawlessness and degeneration in our national life. This is why we have among our cardinal objectives change, which implies the need for a change of attitude and mindset in our everyday life. Every one of us must have a change from our old days of doing things. We cannot fold our arms and allow things to continue the old way. We must resist the temptation to fall back on the same partisanship, pettiness, and immaturity that have poisoned our country for so long. Let us summon a new spirit of responsibility, spirit of service, of patriotism, and sacrifice. Let us all resolve to pitch in and work hard and look after not only ourselves, but one another. What the current problem has taught us is that we cannot have a thriving army of rent seekers and vested interests while the majority suffers. Rather than sit back and complain endlessly, we have decided to act pragmatically with the launch of the National Reorientation Campaign. The campaign will not be a sprint, but a marathon that will run the course of our tenure. We are under no illusion that the changes we seek will happen overnight. But we have no doubt that the campaign will help restore our value system and rekindle our nationalistic fervor. I am therefore appealing to all Nigerians to be part of this campaign. Our students must realize that the change they want to see begins with them. If you have not seen the change in you, you cannot see it in others or even the larger society. In other words, before you ask, where is the change they promise us? You must first ask, how far have I changed my ways? What have I done to be part of the change for the greater good of society? While the government will drive the Change Begins With Me campaign, it must be strongly supported by all concerned individually. In this regard, the private sector is a major stakeholder.
Now, following the launch of the campaign, TV360 spoke to some Nigerians to get their reactions. Most of them were divided over the Change Begins With Me campaign, while some even said that change must begin with the government before it gets to the citizens.
It's a very good scheme that I think is a long overdue scheme, a program that should have been introduced long ago. you know, you want to rule over a people. You see, a leadership is as good as the followership. A leadership is as good as the followership. Just like a goalkeeper in a football game is as good as the defense. If you have a very porous defense, a goalkeeper is likely to concede many goals in a football match. So it's the defender that shields the goalkeeper from unnecessary shots from strikers. That's the same thing leadership is about. A leader has to have the people he's governing following in his programs, understanding what he's trying to do.
We are talking of changes that in policy that will have impact on the common man. If there is no change in those areas, there is no way a common man can even change. That is what I believe. So they must have change in policies, in terms of implementation of policy, in terms of execution of policies, and in terms of evaluation of policies. If those things can be done, then an average Nigerian can have a change. They can change themselves, even if not for if the government is not campaigning for the change itself, the people naturally they will change.
If change must happen in this country, the government, those who lead, will have to lead first before the citizens will follow. Saying that change begins with me, how does that really work? For example, I have a program which I feel will improve education in Nigeria. How can I enforce it? Am I the Minister of Education? Am I I'm a permanent secretary? There are policy makers.
Nigeria's Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has urged militants in the Niger Delta region to embrace the peace talks suggested by the Nigerian government. The minister was speaking in Abuja, the nation's capital, on Friday. According to the minister, violence will not solve the problems in the Niger Delta region. Attacks by militant groups in the Niger Delta pushed crude oil production in Nigeria to 30-year lows several months ago. The militants have called for a greater share of Niger's oil wealth, which accounts for around 70% of national income, to be passed on to the region's communities and for authorities to clean up areas blighted by oil spills. Niger's Minister of Information said the present administration has now heeded that call and begun cleaning up the region. The Nigerian Army says its troops have destroyed 74 illegal refineries in Niger's restive Niger Delta region. A statement from the Army said the troops of the 2nd Brigade in Port Harcourt carried out the operation during the ongoing Crocodile Smile. The statement also added that the troops destroyed some camps belonging to militants in the region. Operation Crocodile Smile is a military campaign introduced to stop pipeline attacks in the restive region. Nigeria's Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says he is optimistic that the economic recession in the country is battling and it will be for a short while. The Vice President gave this assurance while speaking to newsmen at the Redeemers University in Osun State. Professor Osinbajo said that the loss of about 60% of gas and 60% of revenue is largely responsible for the economic challenges Nigerians are facing. He said that efforts were on to partner with private investors to invest more in the renovation of Nigeria's refineries. Nigeria was last in a recession for less than a year in 1991 and experienced a prolonged one that started in 1982 and lasted until 1984. Still on local stories now, the Nigerian Air Force has conducted a special counterterrorism exercise at the International Airport in Abuja. The mock security drill, which left some passengers shaking, was carried out to show just how prepared the military is to defend the country against any form of terrorist attacks in various airports. The Air Force says the exercise would be continuous and lapses in the operations would be rectified. This is not a usual sight at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. Armed military personnel in camouflage marching in a single file towards the airport while passengers go about their normal business. Up above the sky, more armed military personnel are being lowered to the ground from a military helicopter. It's a mock counter-terrorism drill. With the growing number of terrorist attacks globally and most of the recent incidents occurring in airports. The Nigerian military does not want to take chances. The exercise was to demonstrate just how ready the Nigerian Air Force is to respond to any occurrence of terrorist attacks in any of the nation's airports. Codenamed Steel Dome, the mock drill includes a special mission to rescue hostages being held by some terrorists in a terminal at the airport. Armed with real weapons, paired with rubber bullets, the troops move into action. On ground to monitor the operation, the Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, who led members of the Nigerian Air Force to watch the mock operation. The troops play out the scene so believably, it leaves most of the passengers in panic, even though they had been informed beforehand of the mock security drill.
It is very scary, and it shows how good our armies are. It shows that they are not relenting on the issue of Boko Haram, and we're happy about it. It is very, very scary, and it will scare the, the terrorists away.
I was so scared. I was like, what is happening? It was real. It was fantastic. It was marvelous. The guys are really terrible. They are really good. Honestly, it was a very good experience. It shows that we are secured in this country. It shows that that this airport is highly secured.
The Chief of the Air Staff reaffirmed the resolve of the Air Force not to rest on its laurels in order to ensure terrorism is seriously tackled in the country.
The quick response forces that participated in this exercise were trained by Nigerian Air Force using taxpayers' money, and what we want is to have a force that is actually going to be effective in the event of any problem in our airports. You can have all the training, you can have all the skills. Unless you are tested from time to time, you will not be able to know whether there will be gaps. And the whole essence of this exercise is to ensure that there are no gaps. And you also need to have the cooperation of other agencies. Coordinating with other agencies must be evaluated from time to time to know whether there will be problems in real situation.
This will be the first time the Nigerian Air Force will carry out a mock security operation. Authorities say more will be conducted to prepare the troops just in case terrorists decide to try their luck at any of the airports in the country. The Nigerian Police Force has expressed concern over the activities of campaign group Bring Back Our Girls. The group has been embarking on regular protests at the presidential villa in Abuja, calling for the immediate release of the abducted Chibok girls. The police chief urged the group to tread with caution by channeling their grievances within the ambit of the law. The group, who were stopped by the police several times last month, say they will continue to march to the presidential villa every 72 hours until their demands are met by the president. One of such demands is the rescue of the Chibok girls. In April 2014, Boko Haram abducted 276 girls from a school in Chibok, Borno State, northeast Nigeria. Until date, the girls are yet to be found.
The activities of Bring Our Girls group in Abuja, the nation capital, recently is becoming worrisome and a threat to public peace and order. The Bring Our Girls protagonists must understand that the exercise of their rights they must not trample on the rights of other people through over-dramatization of emotions, self-serving propaganda, and disrespect of public holders. The police will not sit on the fence and watch such scenario unfold. The rights of law-abiding citizens must be protected within the context of law. We believe that enough is enough. Every one of us have a right, individual rights. And we believe that where your right ends, the right of others begin. And we should try to conduct ourselves in such a way that everybody in the process of enforcing your right, you should not encroach into other people's right. I believe that blocking highways, obstructing traffic, and over dramatizing to, this dramatization that is happening, trying to confront policemen, trying to provoke them. It's not, I don't think it attends to enforcement of rights.
Not everyone is too pleased with the police chief's statement. Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka has warned against the use of force against the Bring Back Our Girls campaigners. He said that the group should be given their space to protest against the abduction of the Chibok girls. Soyinka says protests by the group could not be too much as long as the Chibok girls remain in Boko Haram captivity. He urged the federal government and its agencies to speak with one voice and express solidarity with the missing girls and their families. Time for a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at business and sports stories. Don't go away.
Corruption not in my country.
Hello? Yeah, I found your wallet in front of a supermarket. Meet me at Apple Junction. Yes, I'll be waiting for you.
Now we find out. Two of us.
Thank you very much, officer. It's surprising that men like you still exist in the police force.
Yes, so... Oh, yes.
This is just a token of my appreciation.
Oh, no, you don't need to do this. We are only doing our job.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
You're welcome.
Now I know police is really my friend.
Yes.
Friend. Hey. Okay, which came up with this one? I don't understand.
You know your problem. You are greedy. I'm a policeman who is doing his job. All forms of corruption in the force. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. As the world prepares for the celebration of the Eid al-Kabir, Muslims in Nigeria have also called on the government to act quickly to address the economic hardship the country is facing. Some of them who spoke to TV360 expressed deep concern over the high prices of food items, including the symbolic ram for the feast, which is now sold for very outrageous prices. Our correspondent, Abiola Ismail, has the details.
The Eid al-Kabir festival is around the corner. Muslims around the world are preparing for the festival, which comes up within the last month of the Islamic calendar year. In Nigeria, Muslims account for at least 48.8% of the country's population, which are about 180 million people. But for that huge figure, this year's Eid al-Kabir festival may not be the same, owing to the economic recession in the country. It has led to the inflation of food items in the market, including livestock. In Islam, killing of livestock such as ram is very significant during the celebration of the Eid al-Kabir festival. It symbolizes the act of thanksgiving to Allah. But a trip to a market in Nigeria's commercial city of Lagos shows that many families may not take part in this symbolic slaughter. Both buyers and sellers of ram are alarmed at the country's economic situation and the toll it's having on business. A number of them who spoke with TV360 news crew say a ram now costs between 60,000 and 150,000 naira compared to between 30,000 and 60,000 naira it cost last year.
I'm still on it. I've never bought it, but I'm still scouting. I didn't face this type of stress last year. So I need to move around so that I can buy the one that can accommodate my money, the amount that is with me. So compared to what happened last year, I bought it easily. I left here early. But now I move all the way from that side down here. I've not seen anyone to buy because of the price. The price are the impediment because the price at the high side. And that's why I'm scouting for my own size. They will start from 120,000, 130,000 naira for ordinary ram.
But last year I bought ram of 40,000 naira, but I cannot afford. I can only buy a ram of 40, only one I can buy now. I bought two last year, but now I can buy one because of the rate of everything. Everything that costs, both food item, ram, everything. That's why you see some ram are very many here. We don't know, maybe tomorrow or next tomorrow, they can come, people can come and buy it now. But since they are here now, mostly all these ram they are here since last week, some 4 days, 5 days ago. Last year, between 4 days, 3 days to Eid al-Kabir to Ileya festival, all these ram has already gone.
Yeah, this year's price, we can't compare it to last year because the exchange rate last year was so minimal, unlike this year. The average price now of most of the ram now, from let's say from 70, 80, 90. Even the minimum one you can get now is 50.
Some of the ram sellers blame the high cost on the exchange rate. Most of the ram here had to be imported from neighboring countries like Niger to meet the demand in Nigeria in time for the celebration.
The current exchange rate now, because the dollar, I mean the naira has gone down, is bad. So the price of the animals have gone up because we really have to like convert our naira to safer to bring more animals from the neighboring countries. But to God be the glory, we still have some animals within the north. But I assure you, even that affects the normal price.
Actually, as you can see, we have a lot of ram in ground. Though we have sold some, and still we are having many because due to the situation whereby there is no much customers. Like before, like last year, some people came by 10, 15, 20, even 100 sometimes. But if you can look now, we are having only, sometimes the person that bought 10 ram as of last year will just come and buy only 2, 3 rams. So we are having a challenge in that places.
Nigerians are hoping the impact of the economic recession is short-lived, as recently promised by the government. But until then, they can only enjoy as the mood for the celebration of Eid al-Kabir fills the air. Abiola Ismail, TV360, Lagos.
The Naira is likely to trade little change at the official markets. This is according to traders. This comes even as the CBN struggles to support the local currency by injecting dollars into the official markets daily. The Naira has consistently closed at 305 to the dollar on the interbank market in the week to Thursday on support from the CBN's daily intervention. It has been broadly flat at 425 to the dollar on the parallel market, compared with 423 a dollar last week. The Naira has been under persistent pressure as dollar scarcity continues to weigh on the local currency at both the parallel and interbank forex markets. However, traders say dollar supply had improved after the CBN lifted the suspension of 8 banks banned from the interbank currency market for failing to remit money owed to the Nigerian government. Oil prices lost ground Friday despite a 14.5 million barrel decline in U.S. oil stocks. Brent was down at $49.45 per barrel, while U.S. crude was down at $47.12 per barrel for October deliveries. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and Russia are maintaining the production freeze talk ahead of a meeting on the subject in Algeria on September 28. But any deal would have to overcome major obstacles, including Iran's refusal to consider production cap until it hits pre-sanction levels. At least 4 people were killed and 49 others injured when a train derailed in northwestern Spain on Friday. About 60 passengers were on the Portuguese train when it derailed near the town station. One carriage came off the tracks completely, the other 2 partially. In July 2013, Spain suffered one of its worst train crises in the same region when a high-speed train derailed, killing 79 people and injuring some 170 others. Gabon's opposition leader has lodged a challenge to the presidential election results at the Constitutional Court. Results last week showed that Ali Bongo, who is 57, beat his main rival, Jinping, a veteran diplomat, by fewer than 6,000 votes in the August 27 poll. This led to days of violent riots which killed at least 6 people. Bongo has rejected accusations that results were altered to ensure his victory as president. He has come under increasing international pressure to back a recount of votes, including from former colonial powers, France, which has a military base in Gabon. Moving on to sports stories now, Nigerian weightlifter Latifat Tijani has won the country's first medal at the Rio 2016 Paralympic Games. Tijani won silver in the women's 45 kilogram powerlifting games. She lifted 101 kilograms to temporarily hold the Paralympic record before eventual gold medalist China's Dandan Hu lifted 102 kilograms to beat her record. Hu also set a new record of 107 kilograms after Tijani failed in her first attempt at 104 kilograms. Great Britain's New Sun Zhou won bronze in the tournament. The Zambian Football Federation has confirmed that the date of its opening World Cup qualifier against the Super Eagles of Nigeria has been postponed till October 9th. The game, which was previously slated for October 3rd, will however still be played at the same venue despite the change of date. The venue for the game is the Levi Mwanasa Stadium in Ndola. The Eagles were paired with Zambia, Cameroon and Algeria in Group B of the tournament. The team will start its qualification campaign with a game away to Zambia on October 9, 2016 and finish away to Algeria on November 7, 2017. Only the top team will qualify from that group. World Football Governing Body FIFA has formally opened corruption investigations against its former president Sepp Blatter and former General Secretary Jerome Valk and its ex-finance chief Marcus Katner. Blatter and Valk are already serving ethics bans and face criminal proceedings by Swiss federal prosecutors. Blatter is serving a 6-year ban following an investigation by the Ethics Committee, which revealed a 2 million Swiss francs disloyal payment made to Michel Platini. The Swiss is currently appealing the case at the Court of Arbitration for Sports, while Valk is serving a 12-year ban for his alleged involvement in a scheme to profit from World Cup ticket sales. Ethics prosecutors say the new investigation relates to bribery and corruption, accepting gifts and conflicts of interest. Well, that's all we have on news now. Thank you very much for watching. I am Thelma Okoro.